Hi all, we are going to discuss antenatal care facts for multiple choice questions. Antepartum care refers to care of mother before childbirth. Braxton Hicks contraction are painless uterine contractions that occur throughout pregnancy. Chadwick sign, a probable sign of pregnancy, refers to the color of vaginal walls, which change from normal light pink to deep violet. Goodell's sign, a probable sign of pregnancy, is softening of the cervix. Hagar's sign, a probable sign of pregnancy, is softening of the lower uterine segment, which may be present at 6 to 8 weeks of gestation. Conception or fertilization occurs with the fusion of a spermatozoon and an ovum or oocyte in the ampulla of fallopian tube. The fertilized egg is called zygote. The diploid number of chromosomes, a pair of each chromosome, 44 autosomes and 2 sex chromosomes, is restored when zygote is formed. A male zygote is formed if ovum is fertilized by a spermatozoon carrying Y chromosome. A female zygote is formed if the ovum is fertilized by a spermatozoon carrying an X chromosome. Implantation occurs when the cellular wall of the blastocyst, that is the trophoblast, implants itself in the endometrium of the anterior or posterior fundal region about 7 to 9 days after fertilization. After implantation, the endometrium is called the decidua. The umbilical cord serves as the lifeline from the embryo to the placenta. At the term, umbilical cord measures about 20 inches, 22 inches, that is 51 to 56 centimeter length, and about 3 by 4th inch, that is 2 centimeter in diameter. Umbilical cord contains 2 arteries and 1 vein and Wharton's jelly, which prevents kinking of the cord in utero. The fetal membranes include the chorion and the amnion. The chorion is the fetal membrane closest to the uterine wall, and it gives rise to placenta. The amnion is thin, tough inner fetal membrane that lines the amniotic sac. Embryonic germ layers include ectoderm, endoderm, and mesoderm. They generate fetal tissues. The ectoderm generates the epidermis, nervous system, pituitary gland, salivary glands, optic lens, lining of the lower portion of the anal canal, hair, and tooth enamel. Endoderm generates the epithelial lining of the larynx, trachea, bladder, urethra, prostate gland, auditory canal, liver, pancreas, and alimentary canal. The mesoderm generates the connective tissue and supporting tissues, the blood and the vascular system, the musculature, teeth except the enamel, and mesothelial lining of pericardial, pleural, and peritoneal cavities, and also kidneys and ureters. As the enlarging uterus increases pressure on the inferior vena cava, it compromises venous return, which can cause dizziness, lightheadedness, and pallor when the client is lying supine. The amniotic fluid prevents heat loss, preserves constant fetal body temperature, cushions the fetus, and facilitates fetal growth and development. Amniotic fluid is replaced every 3 hours. When the fetus is in breech position, fetal heart tones are best heard at or above the level of umbilicus. In twin-to-twin transfusion syndrome, the arterial circulation of one twin is in communication with the venous circulation of the other. In twin-to-twin transfusion syndrome, the recipient twin has polyhydramnios, becomes polycythemic, and often has heart failure due to circulatory overload, while the donor becomes anemic. The recipient twin in twin-to-twin transfusion syndrome is usually large, whereas the donor twin is often small. A marginal placenta previa is characterized by implantation of the placenta in the margin of the cervical os, not covering the os. A low-lying placenta is implanted in the lower uterine segment but doesn't reach the cervical os. Placenta previa occurs when the placenta is implanted in the lower uterine segment. In partial placenta previa, the placenta partially occludes the cervical os. In total placenta previa, internal cervical os is completely covered by the placenta. Antenatal steroids may be given to clients between 26 and 32 weeks of gestation to enhance fetal lung maturity. Ultrasound is the technique of choice in diagnosing a hydatidiform mole. The chorionic villi of molar pregnancy resemble a snowstorm pattern in ultrasound or USG. Snowstorm pattern. Bleeding with hydatidiform mole is often dark brown and may occur erratically for weeks or months. Ectopic pregnancies must be considered in any sexually active woman of childbearing age who complains of menstrual irregularity, cramping, abdominal pain, and mild vaginal bleeding. Human chorionic gonadotropin is a glycoprotein hormone produced in pregnancy that is made by developing embryo after conception and later by the syncytial trophoblast. Human chorionic gonadotropin increases in a woman's blood and urine until the 15th week of pregnancy. The expiratory volume and residual volume decreases as pregnancy progresses. The inspiratory capacity increases during pregnancy. The oxygen consumption in the pregnant woman is 15% 20% greater than a non-pregnant state. Dizygotic twinning is influenced by age, increased maternal age, increased parity, and the use of fertility drugs, especially ovulation-inducing drugs. Hemoglobin and hematocrit values decrease during pregnancy as the increase in plasma volume exceeds the increase in RBC production. Clients with gestational diabetes are usually managed by diet alone to control their glucose intolerance. Long-acting insulin is usually not needed for blood glucose control in the client with gestational diabetes. Oral hypoglycemic drugs are contraindicated in pregnancy. Glucagon raises blood glucose levels and is used to treat hypoglycemic reactions. Magnesium may be administered to pregnant clients with preeclampsia to prevent seizures. A contraction stress test measures the fetal response to uterine contractions. A sickle cell crisis during pregnancy is usually managed by exchange transfusion, oxygen, and IV fluids. Systolic murmurs are heard in up to 90% of pregnant clients. The murmur disappears soon after delivery. A magnesium serum level of 8 to 10 milliequivalents per liter may cause absent reflexes. Serum levels of 10 to 12 milliequivalents per liter may cause respiratory depression. A serum level of greater than 50 milliequivalents per liter may result in respiratory paralysis. Decreased urine output may occur in clients receiving IV magnesium and should be monitored closely to keep urine output at a greater than 30 ml per hour because magnesium is excreted through kidneys and can easily accumulate to toxic levels. Clients with placenta previa or a prior classical caesarean delivery shouldn't be given a trial of labor due to the risk of uterine rupture or severe bleeding. Leopold's maneuvers used to determine fetal position, presentation, and attitude. Rh isoimmunization occurs when Rh positive fetal blood cells cross into the maternal circulation and stimulate maternal antibody production. In subsequent pregnancies with Rh positive fetuses, maternal antibodies may cross back into the fetal circulation and destroy the fetal blood cells in Rh isoimmunization. Gravida refers to the number of times a woman has been pregnant. Para refers to the number of viable children born after 20 weeks of gestation. Tocolytics are used to stop labor contractions. The most common adverse effect associated with the use of tocolytics is pulmonary edema. Oxytocin is the hormone responsible for stimulating uterine contractions. The weight of a pregnant uterus is sufficiently heavy to compress the vena cava, which could impair blood flow to the uterus, possibly decreasing oxygen to the fetus. The side-lying position prevents compression of vena cava. Eating small, frequent meals will place less pressure on the esophageal sphincter, reducing the likelihood of regurgitation of stomach contents into the lower esophagus. A non-stress test or NST is based on the theory that healthy fetuses will have transient fetal heart rate accelerations with a fetal movement. Serial ultrasounds will detect intrauterine growth retardation and oligohydramnios in a fetus. A reactive NST is 2 or more fetal heart rate accelerations that exceed the baseline by at least 15 beats per minute that last longer than 15 seconds within a 20-minute period. Fluttering in the abdomen, also called quickening, begins between 16 and 22 weeks of gestation, and it is caused by fetal movement. The dilated arterioles that occur during pregnancy are due to the elevated level of circulating estrogen and are called telangiectasias. The linea nigra is a pigmented line extending from the symphysis pubis to the top of the fundus during pregnancy. Striae gravidarum or stretch marks are slightly depressed streaks that commonly occur over the abdomen, breast, thighs during the second half of pregnancy. The calcium requirement for pregnancy is 1300 mg per day. During pregnancy, there is a slight decrease, that is 2 breaths per minute in respiratory rate. Heart rate may be increased up to 15 beats per minute by the end of pregnancy. Systolic and diastolic pressures may decrease by 5 to 10 mm of mercury at the end of pregnancy. The transverse diameter, also known as the ischial tuberosity diameter, is the distance between ischial tuberosities. The transverse diameter is the one diameter that commonly leads to problems with the delivery. A gynecoid pelvis is ideal for childbirth. A gynecoid pelvis is characterized by well-rounded inlets and wide forward and backward diameters and pubic arch. An android pelvis is characterized by extremely narrow lower dimensions of the pelvis. The pelvic arch forms an acute triangle. The android pelvis is most common in males but can occur in females and may cause difficulty in delivering a fetus because of the narrow shape. In anthropoid pelvis, also known as ape-like pelvis, is characterized by a narrow transverse diameter and larger than normal inlet and AP diameter. In anthropoid pelvis, an anthropoid pelvis doesn't accommodate the fetal head well because of the transverse diameter is narrow. In platypeloid pelvis, also known as flattened pelvis, has an oval, smoothly curved inlet but shallow anteroposterior diameter. A platypeloid pelvis can cause problems during childbirth with rotation of the fetal head. Fetal presentation indicates which part of fetus will pass through the cervix first during birth. Cephalic fetal presentations include vertex, brow, sinciput, and mentum. Fetal position is the relationship of the presenting part of the fetus to specific quadrant of the mother's pelvis. Fetal position influences the progression of the labor and helps determine whether surgical intervention is needed. Narrowing of the birth canal at inlet, mid-pelvis, or outlet causes disproportion between the size of the fetal head and pelvic diameters, or it is also called cephalopelvic disproportion. Cephalopelvic disproportion results in failure of labor to progress. A history of hypertension predisposes the client for developing abruptio placenta. The blood pressure urine, and weight and fundal height are monitored during prenatal visits. At 20 weeks of gestation, the fundal height should be at about umbilicus. The fundal height should be measured from symphysis pubis to the top of the uterus. Serial measurements of fundus assess fetal growth over the course of pregnancy. Between 18 and 34, the fundal height as measured in centimeters correlates roughly with the week of gestation. So that's all for today. Keep watching. You will be updated with new videos. If you have not subscribed this channel yet, kindly subscribe this channel by clicking the subscribe button below.